Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me for a 1-hour Hatha Yoga practice. Today, this class will be uploaded to YouTube if you're watching it live, so you can find it on my YouTube channel under my name, Tamara Maxim. And if you'd like to add some music for your practice today, feel free to find me on Spotify under Tamara YVR, and I have lots of playlists that you can follow along with or choose anytime you like to listen to them. Our practice will be focused today around the sacral region, Kapotasana, particularly to open up through the hips. And I often say when I'm teaching that the hips are the seat of our emotions, or the storage container for our emotions. So you might want to start to think about something that you'd like to let go of through tonight's practice. Find yourself in a nice tall seat. We'll take a few moments to meditate and come into our breath and an intention for the practice. Close down your eyes if it feels good. You can sit like me on your shin bones, or maybe even up onto a block. You can sit cross-legged or soles of feet together, knees out wide. Let yourself settle down into your hips. Start to focus on the inhalation and exhalation of your breath in and out through your nose. And consider the effect of emotions on our body. Our emotions affect how we react, they affect how we behave, they affect how we perceive. So when we can get control of our emotions, we can have more containment of the situations that are happening in our lives without letting them get out of control. And maybe you'd like to bring your awareness to maybe one emotion that you've been struggling with, something that you've been holding on to or harboring, or something that hinders you from feeling more peace and serenity in your life. This is perfect. And an intention for your class tonight, if you haven't thought of one, is relax. Stress leads to falling apart. Relaxation leads to falling together. And I love that idea of falling together. That even when things seem chaotic, you can bring yourself into a state of relaxation. You can bring it all back in. So take a few moments here and find your own intention. Maybe it's relax. Maybe it's something else that you'd like to work on through your practice, and then when you go off of your mat. If you like, palms can be face up on your thighs or face down, or maybe you bring the hands to your heart. And start to find a deeper, more equanimous breath, inhaling deeply through your nose. Either sigh out your mouth or exhale through your nose. Take a nice long exhale. One more like that. And if you like, bring into your mind's eye, into your heart center, a dedication for this practice. Together we'll open with one beautiful sound of Om. Take a deep clearing breath in through the nose. Release out your mouth. Inhale for Om. Let that Om radiate from your heart center in all directions, filling up the space around you with peace and harmony and sense of relaxation. As you're ready, bow your mind into the beautiful light of your own heart. Make your eyes open. If they're closed, bring your gaze back to your center. We'll make our way onto our back. So if you're onto a block or your seat, take your legs out in front of you and lie right down onto your back. And we'll begin hugging the knees into the chest, Kapotasana. Give yourself a nice squeeze and a hug, maybe rock a little bit side to side. And then bring your right knee in toward your right shoulder, keeping your fingers interlaced above the shin. You can keep your left foot on the floor or start to extend it straight out in front of you. Kapotasana, wind removing. Take your right knee a little bit more out to the right around your rib cage, and then draw the right knee to the outer right shoulder. And keep both feet flexed, especially your right foot. Give your thigh a nice squeeze in toward the outer edge of your chest, and you're stimulating the ascending colon, responsible for digestion, absorbing of nutrients. Big deep breath in. Nice breath out. And then bend your left knee, bring your foot onto the mat, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So today will be a series of variations of Kapotasana, pigeon, and here's our first one, Supta Kapotasana. Hug your left knee in, either holding behind the thigh or in front of your shin. And as you bring your left knee a little bit more to the left, maybe slightly past your left hip, draw it in toward the left shoulder and then press your right knee away. Keep your right foot flexed, your left foot can also be flexed. Right away you feel that sensation into the right hip, so take a breath there. And as you exhale, draw the left knee a little closer, push that right knee away. Another time, inhale. Draw the left knee in, and as you exhale, press that right knee away. Take 2 more breaths here. You're feeling that release as you get a little deeper into the right hip. 1 more. Beautiful. Release your left foot down. Bring your right knee out to the right. Reach to the outer edge of your right foot and pull it down. Half happy baby. You can keep your left foot on the floor. If it feels good, you can roll to the outer edge of your left foot and let the knee drop to the side. See if you can pull your right knee toward your outer right mat. Outer right side of your mat. Press your foot into your hand into the foot, push a little deeper. Kick a little higher up so there's a little pressure underneath the hand and you can get that knee a little closer toward the mat, if not all the way. Or maybe it's onto the floor. 1 more deep breath in and a full breath out. And let's bring both knees back in toward your chest. Give yourself a nice squeeze or maybe extend your legs up. You can rotate your ankles and wrists. Viparita Karani. And then bring your right foot to the mat, hug your left knee in, take it around your rib cage in toward the left shoulder, Pavanamuktasana when we're moving. You can keep your right foot on the mat or extend your right leg straight and try to press the back of your right thigh down, keeping your foot active. You can keep your left foot active as well as you guide the left knee out to the left and back in toward the shoulder. Try to keep both shoulders down, chin slightly in toward the chest. So now you're activating the descending colon, responsible for the release of toxins from the body and elimination. So this is really good to do to help release emotions as well, getting any waste out of the body. Literally letting go. Deep breath in. Squeeze more, exhale. 1 more round of breath. Exhale. And then bring your right foot onto the mat. Right knee is bent. Cross your flexed left ankle over the thigh. And hug your right knee a little bit out to the right and then in toward the right shoulder. Supta Kapotasana, supine pigeon. As the right knee is coming out to the right and then in toward the shoulder, actively push your left knee away. You could be holding behind the thigh or in front of the shin, whichever feels best for you. You can start to feel that release into the left hip, and one of your hips is likely more, it's likely tighter than the other, so just observe and notice. Sometimes it's nice to rock that right knee a little bit more to the right. So as you're inhaling, the right knee is coming out to the right and in toward the shoulder, and the exhale, push that left knee away. 1 more breath like that. Inhale, right knee comes out to the right and in. Exhale, left knee away. Then release your right foot to the floor, half happy baby, Ardha Ananda Balasana. So your elbow is inside the knee, wrap your left hand around the outer left foot, and there's a pushing down of the foot, but also a kicking up of the foot. So be active here. You get more into the inner thigh and the hip flexor. Keep your right knee pointing up to the ceiling, or you can start to roll to the outer blade of your right foot. And maybe that left knee is coming past the outer left edge of your mat, maybe all the way down to the floor or touching the mat. Our sacral region is access to our creativity, to our sensuality, our sexuality, and a place where we store lots of old emotions. Sometimes we don't even know their source or when they got there, but they keep piling up, and that's the tightness you're feeling. Let's release both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice squeeze. You can rock side to side. or maybe forward and back. And we'll make our way to a tabletop position. So however you like to get there, you can roll to your side, cross over your ankles, coming into tabletop. And we'll take a variation of pigeon pose here, deer pose. Slide your right knee behind your right wrist, roll to the outer edge of your right hip, and bring your left thigh so it's parallel to the top edge of your mat. And maybe you can bring your right shin bone parallel to the top edge of your mat, making a couple of 90-degree angles with your legs. So hopefully you can see my right shin bone is parallel, my right thigh is parallel to the edge of the mat, my left thigh is parallel to the top of my mat or to my right shin, and my left shin is parallel with the long edge of the mat. And I'm going to lift my chest, fingers on either side of your right shin, right knee and right foot. Lift your heart, and then bow forward over the shin. And now we'll take a variation of exalted cobra. So take your fingertips out wide, tent your fingers. Inhale, lift your chest, pull your outer right hip back. Exhale to lower, and we'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale to lower. So one more time. Viparita Bhujangasana, exalted cobra. Exhale to lower. Let's go a little deeper into this by twisting a little bit to the right side. Only go as far as it's okay for you. Keep pressing both knees down. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bow forward over to the right side. And you can stay on your fingers and come onto your forearms. Maybe you come all the way down with your forehead. You're leaning a little bit more into the outer right hip, but you still have that same sensation through the legs, 90-degree angles. Slowly push yourself up, and we'll take a little side bend. So hold on to your outer left shin with your left hand and reach your right arm up and over, and you'll feel that stretch down the right side of the body, just the top of the right hip. Deep breath in. Nice long breath out. One more deep breath in. Keep pressing both knees down. Deep breath out. Beautiful. Let's come back through center. Come back to your tabletop position. Either press back to downward dog and pedal out your heels a couple of times, or you can do cat and cow a few times, tucking the toes. Inhale, lifts your tailbone up, tummy down, chest up. Exhale, you can untuck the toes and round the spine. If you're in downward dog, pedal out right and left, bending the opposite knee, spreading your fingers wide. Then we'll come back down onto tabletop if you're not there already. We'll come back into deer. So slide your left knee behind your left wrist, roll onto the outer left hip, and create that same formation with your legs. So two 90-degree angles. And take your fingertips forward. Keep your feet active. Lift your chest. Exhale to lower. You might want at this point to take your fingertips out wider, elbows pointing up. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale to lower. Again, inhale, lift your chest. Exhale to lower. Now inhale, lift your chest. Walk your hands over more to the left side. Bit of an angle. You can stay here. This might be enough for you, or maybe you walk your hands forward. Maybe you bow in. Maybe you can get your chest and forehead down. You're getting more of a stretch into the outer left hip, and you might want to actively press both knees down. And then you'll feel it more. And these stretches in yoga, they don't have to create a lot of intensity. Sometimes we can just create a different shape than what we're used to help break free of our patterns and habits, the samskaras. Just try something a little different. A couple more deep breaths here. Slowly you'll push yourself up. This time we'll take a side stretch. So you can hold on to your outer right shin bone, lift your left arm up and stretch over to the right side. You should be feeling this down the outer left hip into your rib cage. Deep breath in, keep your feet flexed. A deep breath out. One more deep inhale. And exhale. And slowly we'll make our way back. Again, either downward dog or tabletop. Either pedaling out the feet, and if you like, you can even take a three-legged dog, creating an opening in each hip. If you're in tabletop, you can move through cat and cow, or even take a child pose. If that feels good for you, take your knees wide, hips to heels, and stretch out through the hips. And we'll all meet in downward dog in a couple of breaths. So make your way here if you're in a tabletop and any other variation. Bend your knees a lot when you get there and pull your hips back and up. Give a nice long stretch to the spine. Take a big inhale breath. And as you exhale, straighten out your legs and press your heels down. Full deep breath in and a long breath out. And now on your inhale, ripple forward, high plank pose, Utthita Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower your knees if you need. Spread your fingertips wide, press into your palms, and rock as far forward on your toes as you can. Draw the belly into the spine. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. One more inhale, rock forward more, crown of the head in line with your spine. And this time as you exhale, elbows go back, chest lowers all the way down. Untuck your toes, and again, we'll take the exalted cobra variation. Tend your fingertips, point your elbows up to the ceiling, fingers are out wide off of your mat. Press the ankle bones down as you inhale, lift your head and chest up. Press the thigh bones down, so get a stretch for the hip flexors. As you exhale, take your right shoulder down to the mat, look over your left elbow. Inhale, come back through center, press the tops of your feet down so your ankle bones stretch, thighs extend. Exhale, left shoulder down, look over your right elbow. And let's come back through center, lift your heart up. Stretch the top of the thighs, hip flexors extended. Exhale to lower all the way down. Bring your palms underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes. Make your way back up to downward dog. When you get there, take a full breath in and a full breath out. And let's keep the feet hip distance apart. Lift your heels up. Come behind your toes, stay in downward dog. And now as you exhale, drop your heels to the right side of your mat. Stay in this downward dog shape and you'll feel the stretch down the inner and outer edges of your legs. Inhale your heels back through center, lift your hips high, press your hands forward and down. Exhale, heels to the left, toes to the right. Again, keep the hips lifting and you'll feel the stretch from your hips down to the inner and outer edge of your feet. Inhale, lift your hips high, heels through center. Exhale, heels press down. Now on your inhale breath, lift your right leg up to the sky, stack your hip, open it up. Bend your knee, let your foot drop to the left side, look under your left shoulder, see if you can see your foot. Take another full inhale here. Stay for your exhale. And now as you inhale, extend your leg right back behind you, bring your knee in toward your chest. Step your right foot through inside of your right thumb. Back heel spins down, there's hip distance between your heels, and then you rise. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Actively pull your outer right hip back. It's even good to use your thumb to pull it back, and when you do that, you'll feel that your left thigh pivots forward. So you want to have your hip bones parallel to the front of your mat. Reach your arms actively up to the sky, and now curl your tailbone toward your front heel, so there's a lengthening of the lower back rather than a back bend. Knit the lower ribs in. Take a full breath in, bend a little deeper as you exhale. And now let's pivot the back heel so you have front heel to back arch alignment. Open up your arms. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Try to wiggle your front toes more forward, so take a longer stance so you create space in the hips to sink deeper and that front thigh can become parallel. Now extend your arms, fingertips reaching forward and back. Heart is right in the center over top of your hips, in line with your head. Deep breath in, reach out, bend a little deeper as you exhale, and hug your outer right thigh underneath you so your knee tracks open. Hug your inner left thigh open. There's a big internal and external rotation in opposite hips here. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Flip your right palm up. Lower your left hand down. Keep the bend into your front knee so you get a stretch into the front of the rib cage. Reach your top arm up and over your ear. Pull your hand back and turn your heart toward the ceiling. If you have a bind variation here, feel free to go for it. Keep letting that right knee track outward. Viparita Virabhadrasana, Exalted Warrior. Take a full deep inhale here. Hinge a little deeper into the hips. Exhale. One more deep breath in. Hinge a little deeper. Exhale. Bring both hands back to center parallel. Now hug your outer right hip back as you peel your left heel off the mat. Reach your arms up to the sky so you feel that rotation in the hips. Deep inhale here. As you exhale, bring your palms down and step back to downward dog. You're welcome to take a vinyasa if that's in your practice. Otherwise, stay here and come with me for a few breaths. Walk your feet in just a little bit closer to your hands. Soften your knees, so lift your heels. And bring your right ankle bone on top of your left thigh. Keep your knees bent and pull the hips back and up. So another variation of pigeon pose here, but in downward dog. Keep pressing the hips back and up. Bend your left knee more. Feel this opening into the right hip. Deep full inhale. Exhale. And let's let the right foot come back to the mat. Pedal out your heels. We'll go to the other side. So bend your knees. Place your left flexed ankle on top of your right thigh. Keep the hips pulling back and up. Chest moving toward your left shin bone. Hips pulling away from your hands. Keep bending that right knee more so you feel that stretch into the left hip. Deep breath in. Long breath out. And then release the foot. We'll lower the knees. Take a little rest here. Balasana child pose. Hands beside your feet, palms facing up, forehead down. Take a full deep breath in through your nose and let something go as you exhale. So think of this idea of relaxation. How can you relax more? Take a full breath in. This is the way. Take a full breath out. And slowly peel yourself back up, back to downward dog. From your downward facing dog, spread your fingertips wide, lift your left heel up into the air, stack your hip, bend your knee, drop your foot to the right, look underneath your right arm for your toes. See if you can lift that knee a little higher, stretch into the front of the hip. And as you exhale, bring your knee in toward your chest and step through inside of your left thumb. Back heel spins down, Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So use your left thumb in your hip crease, actively pull it back, and you'll see when you do that, that causes the right hip to pull forward, and that's what we want. We want that square, that parallel line of our hips with the front of the mat. Keep your arms active and strong, and now think about curling your tailbone toward your front heel. Get more length in the spine and knit your lower ribs in, so there's no back bend here. Bend your front knee more. Take a deep, full inhale and a long exhale. And now we're going to go for some rotation of the hips. So keep your left foot where it is. Peel your back heel further back. Align your front heel to your back arch and then open arms. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So try creating more space here for the hips. Wiggle your front toes more forward. Use the outer edge of your back foot to ground you down. And see if you can bring your front thigh parallel to the mat. If not today, at least you create this space for it. Now we have an internal rotation of the outer left hip. Tuck it under. Also outer rotation of the inner right thigh. So moving in opposite directions here. Take a full deep inhale. And a long exhale. Gaze down your front fingertips. One more deep breath in. Extend, open the heart. Exhale, bend deeper. Flip your left palm up, lower your right hand down. Viparita Virabhadrasana. And your variation, if you took a bun, open up your heart. Keep bending that knee. Let it trap toward the baby toe. So use the outer thigh to hug it toward the outer edge of your mat. Take a deep full breath in. Beautiful full breath out. One more deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And now we'll come back to Warrior 2. So we're going to use the strength of our hips to pivot. Pivot that back heel off the mat and reach your arms forward so you feel that left hip pulling back, right thigh forward. Full breath in here. And as you exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Step back, downward dog. And from here, take an inhale breath. Lift your right leg up to the sky. Bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Your right toes will be a distance further back from your left hand. Tuck your left toes and slide your left knee as far back as you can. This is one variation of pigeon pose. Take an inhale breath, lift your heart up to the sky. And as you exhale, bow in, come down onto your forearms. Now you're welcome to stay here. Try to avoid rolling to the outer right hip. Keep your hips square to the top of your mat. Slide your left arm underneath your right arm. You can keep your right fingertips tented by your face, or maybe extend your arm all the way forward, or come into a little twist. Take your right arm behind. If you can find your sacrum, or maybe to the top of your left thigh. And maybe you can even wrap your fingers of your right hand around your right big toe. You can feel it under your left hip. Roll your chest open, big breath in. The big breath out. One more, inhale. And exhale. And slowly we'll make our way all the way back. Downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up to the sky. Slide your left knee behind your left wrist. Extend that right knee back by tucking your toes, pull it back. Relax the top of your foot, come onto your fingertips, lift your heart. And then exhale, you'll fold down. And you can stay in the folded position. Or you can come into a little bit of a twist with me. Slide your right arm underneath your left arm. You might want to put a block under your temple or your forehead. Maybe you extend your left fingers forward, or you come into the bind. So reach your left hand behind you. See if you can find a little space on your sacrum, or maybe wiggle around to the outer right hip. Or maybe you can find your left big toe. Roll your top shoulder open, at the same time opening the hips. Deep full breath in, and a deep full breath out. One more, inhale. Exhale. Slowly we'll come back. I'm short and sweet here, but don't worry, there's more to come. Tuck your back toes, take it back. Downward dog. Look forward to the top of your mat. Take as many steps, or maybe a little leg hop. Come all the way forward. Bring your palms onto your shins. Lengthen your chest forward halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Feet can be together or hip distance. Again, inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale to rise all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana. Lengthen your tailbone. Palms touch. Arch back. Hands to heart center. Samastiti. Now we'll bring our hands onto our hips. Your feet can be hip distance or together. We'll come into a balancing pose. So find a focal point, a drishti, something that you can have a single pointed connection with. Bring your weight into your right foot. And de-weight your left foot. Heel is lifted. Turn your knee out to the right. You're going to lift your knee up at a bit of an angle. Flex your foot and place your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Hands can then come to your heart. And start to sit back and down. So this is Ardha Utkatasana, half chair, or standing pigeon. So keep that same shape that we started with in Supta Kapotasana, and sit back and down as if you're sitting your hips right into a chair, and you feel the opening into your left hip. And now see if you can find Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Lift your heart forward, thumbs right to the sternum. Take a full deep inhale here, and a long exhale. And then slowly stand yourself back up, reach your arms to the sky, arch back, hands to heart center. And we'll go to the other side. Spread your toes wide, lift your right knee up, take it out to the side. Place your flexed right ankle over your left thigh, keep your foot active. Do that to protect the knee, hands to your heart. Sit down into the chair as if you're going to sit your hips all the way down. So at the same level as your bending knee if you can. And then find Cobra, Bhujangasana. So bring your thumbs onto your sternum and lift your heart up as you pull the hips back and down. So Ardha Utkatasana, half chair or standing pigeon. Deep full breath in. Deep full breath out. Sit a little deeper. One more. It's always that extra little inch, and then you feel right into the hip. Inhale, stand all the way up. Sweep your arms to the sky, arch back. And this time fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen. And from here, plant your palms, step back, downward dog. Feel free to take a vinyasa or stay here in downward dog for a few breaths. If you want to come with me for a few breaths, walk your feet again a little closer. De-weight your right hand, Hook your right hand to the elbow or outer left ankle, calf, or thigh. Maybe bend your knees if you need. Look underneath your left arm. Deep breath in. Twist as you breathe out. Let's switch sides. Plant your right hand down. De-weight your left hand. Wrap to the outer right ankle, calf, or thigh. Bend your knees if you need. Look underneath your right arm. Pull your hips back and up. Give yourself a nice twist. Deep breath in. Twist a little more as you exhale. Walk your hands a little bit more forward. Meeting in downward dog. If you're not there, come meet me here. Inhale your right leg up to the sky. Again, stack your hip, bend your knee. Give your hip a nice opening. This time as you exhale, bring your right knee forward. Step in the center of your thumbs. Back heel spins down. Rise all the way up. Virabhadrasana 2 right away. Get right into the hips as deep as you can. And now let's open up the hips by straightening the front leg as you inhale, palms touch. Exhale back into the warrior 2 shape. Inhale, straighten the leg, palms touch. Exhale back into it. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Moving into triangle, a good hip opener. Straighten your front leg. Heel toe your back foot in a step or 2 if you need. Keep hinging forward. So remember that idea of pulling the right hip back that we did already. Keep reaching forward and then pivot your arms. And feel free to use a block underneath your right hand. Different variations you can take. Maybe you want to take big toe lock, pulling up on the right toe as you push it down. Maybe you have your hand lightly touching your shin or on the outside. Try to turn your head so the crown of your head is in line with your front big toe and your top thumb, as if you were doing a cartwheel down a narrow hallway. And now, internally, rotate your outer right hip. Externally, rotate your inner left thigh. Deep breath in and long breath out. One more deep full inhale, deep full exhale. Moving to Ardha Chandrasana, soften your right knee. I'm just going to step back a little bit. Soften your right knee, maybe bring a block underneath your right hand as you lift your left leg up behind you. Now be active here. Press out through your heel. Your fingers can come to a block if you need, or to the mat. Press out through your left heel, toes flex, and now stack your left hip open over your right hip. Turn your chest toward the left, reach your left arm up. You're welcome to stay here if you have, I'm going to use a block today. If you have Chaposana in your practice, you're welcome to use that, to do that. And maybe you try looking up to your top hand. Open up your top hip. Deep breath in. And a full breath out. And then we'll slowly step all the way back. Warrior 2. Pivot your hands down to the mat. And again, step back, downward dog. Take a full deep inhale. And a long exhale. And left leg lifts to the sky. Stack your hip, bend your knee, open it up. As you exhale, step your foot through to the center of your palms. Back heel spins down, finding that front heel to back arch alignment right into the hips, warrior 2. Full deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale your front leg to straight, palms touch, look up. Exhale, deepen back into the front hip. Inhale, reach up. Exhale. One more time. Inhale, full breath in. Exhale. Straighten your front leg. Heel toe your back foot in just a step or 2, a little shorter stance. Hinge at that left hip, so that idea of pushing the left hip crease with your thumb. Hinge forward, pivot your arms. Find your same variation with your arms. Maybe you're holding onto a block, maybe you have big toe lock, maybe you're hovering your left hand. Pivot the crown of your head so it's in line with your front big toe, your top thumb, your tailbone, all in one straight line. Keep opening up the hips so there's an internal rotation of your outer left thigh, and an external rotation of your inner right thigh. Deep full breath in and a full breath out. Ardha Chandrasana, look to the mat. Take your right hand onto your right hip. Maybe I'll go for a block for sure this time, under your left hand. Start to raise your right leg up. And as you raise your right leg up, you want to think of that same idea of triangle pose. So opening up the top hip. Hug your outer left hip even more underneath you as you press out through your right heel. Curl your toes toward you and maybe raise your right arm up. You're welcome to go for Kapotasana if you have it to add the back bend. Maybe you try looking up to your top hand. Pretty challenging. Breathe deep. Use your breath. Look back down, step all the way back. Warrior two. Take an inhale here. And as you exhale, let's come back to downward dog. And from downward facing dog, take an inhale breath. Lift your right leg up to the sky. Stack your hip, bend your knee. Turn your left fingertips out to the left about 10 o'clock. Bring your right foot behind you and land on your right toe so your right heel is lifted high. Bring into wild thing. Start to push the hips back and up. Look to your top hand. Full deep inhale and a long exhale. And then we'll flip ourselves back around. Another variation here of pigeon. Reach your right leg up. Bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Let the shin bone come at an angle. Slide your left knee back. Tuck your toes to do that, and then you can untuck your toes. Now you're welcome to stay here. If you want to add in a back bend here, bring your right hand a little bit more to the left side of your mat. Look back for your left foot and bend your knee and reach back and grab the inner edge of your left foot. You can start to kick the foot back and up, and then square your chest again to the front of the mat. Maybe reach your right arm up. A little variation here of mermaid pose. King pigeon. Stay here, or maybe you can bend that knee more, get more of a thigh stretch, and tuck your left toes into your left elbow. And from here you can stay, or maybe you can bind the hands, and then turn your heart toward the top of your mat. Keep pulling your right hip back, left thigh forward. If you have any other variation, you're welcome to go there. Both hands onto the foot if you like. For full Ekapada Raja Kapotasana, King Pigeon. Deep breath in, and a full breath out. And slowly we'll release. Let that foot come back behind you. Tuck your back toes. Give that right leg a big lift. Give it a little shake or some hip rotations. Hope you're feeling lots of release and relaxation through the hips here. And let's go to the other side. Inhale, left leg lifts to the sky. Stack your hip, bend your knee. Turn your fingertips out to about 2 o'clock. And then let that left foot drop slowly behind you. Stay on your toes. Lift the heel. Press the outer edge of your right foot down and press your hips up to the ceiling. You can look to your top hand. Wild thing. Deep full breath in. Nice back bend. Hip opener. Slowly bring yourself back around. Lift your left leg up to the sky. And again, we'll come to pigeon pose. Left knee behind the wrist. Let your shin bone be at an angle. Slide your right knee back. You can untuck your toes if you like. And again, you're welcome to stay here. You can also lower down if that feels good for you. Or coming into a back bend. So really good stretch for the right hip flexor. Look back for your right toes. Bend your knee. Walk your left hand more to the right side of your mat. And reach back. Grab the top of your foot or your ankle. And then turn your chest forward and see if you can lift your left arm up to the sky. Just a little extra flourish here. You're welcome to stay here. Keep kicking that foot back and up, but sink into the hips at the same time. If you want to go a little further, support yourself. See if you can kick those right toes into your right elbow. So find a little bind there. Left arm can float back up, or maybe you can find a bind of the fingers as you turn your chest toward the front of the mat and try to get down into the hips. Deep breaths here, everyone. Try to release what you can from the tight area of the hips, the pelvis. Deep full inhale. When you're ready to release, exhale and let go. Making our way back, three-legged dog. Maybe you rotate out the hip. Take a vinyasa if you like. And then on your next few breaths, make your way to the top of your mat to a forward fold. So you're welcome to walk, step, or hop. Halfway lift when you get there. Exhale to release. Inhale to rise all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Hands to heart center, Samastitihi. Okay, we'll come into another balance here, this time with the option to float it out. So Ekapada Galavasana, which is set up through this half chair pose, which we've worked on a little bit. So hips are pretty open. We haven't really warmed up the wrists a lot, so if you're not feeling quite ready for it in this practice, no problem, but you can definitely do the preparation. So standing again on your right foot, come onto your left toe, lift your heel, open up your knee. Slide your flexed left ankle over top of the right thigh, hands to your heart. Start again to sit back and down into the chair. And you might stay here today. Maybe this is a preparation for you, but it's as far as you want to go. It's no problem. Maybe you can hook the elbows in front of the shin bone and really get the hips down as you pull the heart up. So find that cobra pose that I talked about when we did the first set. From here, bring your hands forward. They might be onto blocks, onto the mat, and see if you can take a little hop of your right foot further back. So create more space between your right toes and your hands. Bend your elbows, come high on your toes, and see if you can shift the shin bone over top of your bent elbows and hook your left toes around your right bicep. And then from here, maybe you stay, maybe you rock forward more, maybe you can kick your right heel toward your bum, or maybe extend it all the way back. Give it a float for 3, 2, 1, and come all the way back. See if you can stand all the way up, same way you came in, and release it down. Find this moment, Tadasana. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Another breath in, and a full breath out. Let's go to the other side. Hands come to your hips, stand onto your left foot. Come onto your right toes, turn your right knee out, slide your right foot, ankle flexed onto the top of your thigh, hands to your heart. Sit back and down, Ardha Utkatasana or standing pigeon. Find cobra pose. So as the hips pull back, can you lift your heart more forward? And then maybe you can hook your elbows in front of the shin. Try to wrap your right toes around your left bicep. Keep pulling forward and up. And then from here, maybe you stay. Or you can bring your fingertips onto the mat or your flat palm and hop your left foot a little bit further back to create more space. And this creates more space for the hips to open up. Maybe wrap the right toes around your left bicep. Start to lean forward into the fingers. Maybe you can float your left toes, or maybe take them all the way back. Hug your elbows back, draw the belly in for 3, 2, 1. And come all the way back. Let's stand up the way we came in. Beautiful. And hands to the heart. And again, find this moment, Tadasana. Relax, take a full breath in. And a full breath out. Step your feet wide. You can be sort of in the middle of your mat, have a little bit of space behind and in front. Sweep your arms up to the ceiling. Your toes are pointing to the corner edges of your mat. Heels are in. As you exhale, we'll sit down into Malasana Yogi Squat. You're welcome to sit into butterfly if you like, sitting on your bum with your feet together, knees wide. If you like to practice crow pose, you're welcome to throw that into the practice here. Take a few breaths and then meet us right back here. Otherwise, stay. Bring the thumbs to the sternum. Find that same lift of the chest, that cobra variation. Enjoy this opening of the inner thighs, always coming to your seat if you need. You're welcome to stay here for a few breaths. Something that I really like to do when I'm in this pose is to extend my arms forward and let the head drop down. So pull the hips back, and you'll feel the hips sinking towards your heels. And if you've been in crow pose, maybe take a vinyasa. Meet us here in 2 more breaths. Slowly coming back up. We're going to make our way down onto our seat. Feel free to take your hands behind you if you need. Come all the way down Lean into your hands, extend your legs out in front of you, give them a nice shake. All right, one more variation here of pigeon pose. This is double pigeon, but there'll be some variation, so just come along with it and see how you feel. So start by crossing your right ankle over top of your left thigh, and you can kind of help it there. Keep your foot flexed. Take your fingertips back behind you. They can be pointing away or back toward you, whichever you feel you have more space for. And start to slide your left foot onto the mat. And now you're pushing your chest up against the shape of your legs, this triangular shape of your legs. This might be enough for you, but maybe you can even shift your hips closer to your left heel and push your chest up. So again, find that cobra variation. You're welcome to stay here. This might be a lot for you. You're already feeling it a lot in the right hip. If you want to come toward double pigeon, start to heel toe your left foot over to the outer right edge of your mat. And as you do this, the right knee will start to fall toward the inner edge of your left foot. And you might need to take a block for this. That's totally fine. A lot of people do. Or you might have more openness and you can start to line up the shin bones. So if you feel like your shin bones are angled back, try to make them both parallel to the top edge of your mat. And I'll give you some variations here you can do. You can push your fingertips back behind you. Maybe start to hinge forward. And again, use blocks under your outer right thigh if you need. If you can come more forward, what I love to do in this pose is set up a couple blocks if you have them, or books or anything that gives you a little height. Bring your elbows on top of the blocks on any setting, palms together. And as you lean forward, thumbs to the nape of your neck. So getting that idea of Anahatasana, heart melting. And this should give you a really, really good release into the hips. We've done so much hip stretching. This is like the ultimate of all those poses. If you want, you can walk your elbows even further forward, and we'll stay here for 10 more breaths. With each inhale breath, see if you can let your heart melt a little bit more. If you're still quite upright, see if you can stretch a little bit further forward. You can always use the blocks to support you. About 5 more breaths. Whatever it is that there is to let go of, let it go. Give yourself permission. It doesn't need to be identified or labeled or judged or criticized. It simply needs to be exhale. Last couple of breaths. On your last breath here, let's sigh out the mouth. From whatever position you're in, slowly start to lean back into your hands, and now to very gently release those legs and let them roll forward and back a few times, and then take your feet wide, knees wide, and windshield wiper your knees down to each side of the mat. You can even take your gaze in the opposite direction down toward the floor. And just notice one side compared to the other. And we'll come back through center and we'll start again on the other side. So you can extend your legs straight, and this time we'll cross our flexed left ankle over top of our right thigh. Lean back into your fingers, and for some people this might be enough for you, and that's fine. Bend your right knee if you can and lift your heart up. So feel that cobra variation, lifting the sternum up to the imaginary thumbs. Maybe you can walk your hips a little closer to your right heel, and for some people, like, wowza, this is a lot right here. Or if you can go further, gently start to walk your right foot over to the left side of your mat and realign yourself so that your shin bones are very parallel with the top edge of your mat. Your feet are flexed. In Yin, we call this a fire log pose, so you might be feeling a lot of fire right now. So stack those fire logs. Feel the Agni, the fire, in this posture. Your hip might be really hot right now. Maybe you place something underneath your left thigh to support it. Maybe you can start to hinge forward more. So you might be pushing behind you. If you are in this double pigeon or fire log, maybe you can come forward. Maybe you use blocks to support your hands. If you want to try that Hatha variation, it's such a nice release. Walk your elbows as far forward as you can onto the blocks on any height. Palms together touching. Keep the blocks shoulder distance apart. And then bow in and bring the thumbs to the nape of your neck. We'll take about 10 more deep breaths here. So wherever you are in this posture, 10 breaths in and out through your nose. Try to find as long an inhale as the exhale. If you come up against any resistance, take an even stronger exhalation and let it go. Your last couple of breaths here. Nice big sigh out the mouth. Full breath in. Full breath out. Again, you'll very slowly and gently support yourself to lean back into your hands if you're not there already. Release your legs. Give them a nice rock side to side. And then take the feet and knees wide. And again, windshield wiper. You can take your gaze down opposite direction. And bring the soles of your feet together. Sit up nice and tall. And maybe wiggle your hips a little further back, so to create a little bit longer diamond shape of your legs than you're used to. Hold on to your ankle bones, lift your chest. And as you exhale, fold in, letting the crown of the head come toward the top of your mat, forehead toward your toes. Full deep inhale. Full exhale. Something that's nice here, if you want to try, is to slide the hands underneath the outer ankles. Wrap your feet with your hands. Try to place your forehead on the tops of your toes. Last full breath here. Sigh as you exhale. Slowly roll yourself up. Close your knees together. Bring your feet toward the top of your mat. Reach your arms forward. Draw the belly in. And as you exhale, slowly lower. Keep pressing your feet forward and down. The core engaged. Support yourself as you need. And when you get down, right where we started, Kapotasana, knees into the chest. And let's release the front of the thighs with a couple of back bends. You're welcome to bring a block under your sacrum for a supported bridge if you like. Everybody bringing your feet close to your hips and close to your bum, and bring your hands beside your hips so they're directly touching your hips. Your thumbs are touching your hips. And don't let your feet get any wider than the width of your hands. So they're pretty tight in toward each other, only about 2 fist distance apart at the most. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, create a little bit of lift in the heart. On your inhale breath, keep the back of your head down, chin in toward the chest. Start to lift your hips up. And you'll press the hip flexors up toward the ceiling. And as you squeeze your bum and come up higher, you get a nice release there. Interlace your hands behind your lower back if you like. And keep squeezing the inner knees toward one another. So outer hips are coming in toward the center. Knuckles toward your heels, lift your chest a little higher. Keep pressing the inner edges of your feet down. Hips higher. Hips higher. One more breath. Hips even higher. Now release your hands flat to the mat. Take one breath. Lift your hips even higher. Keep the alignment of your knees and hips, and as you exhale, come all the way down. Take your feet out wide, inner knees touch. Place one hand onto your heart, one hand onto your belly. Take a full breath in. Relax as you exhale. One more breath in. Relax as you exhale. Bring your arms back beside you. Walk your feet in. Second back bend, last back bend. If you want to take Urdhva Dhanurasana, if that's in your practice, you can go there. Supported bridge again, or little bridge. And I'll direct Urdhva Dhanurasana. Little bridge, you can do the same thing again. We'll all bring our heels close to our bum, palms beside the body, so feet are within the width of the hands. If you're coming for Urdhva Dhanurasana, press your palms up toward the ceiling, extended arms, and then bring your hands beside your ears, fingertips pointing toward your shoulders, elbows pointing up toward the ceiling. Everybody lift your hips. If you want to interlace your palms under your back for little bridge pose, you can. Otherwise, press into your hands, come onto the crown of your head, and keep pressing the hips up. Maybe widen your hands, and then press all the way up. Think of straightening your arms and legs. Keep hugging the inner knees toward each other. Let the crown of the head aim toward the mat as if you were bringing your gaze toward your heels. Everybody keep lifting the hips higher and higher and higher. One more breath. Slowly release your hands if you're in little bridge pose. Otherwise, come to the crown of your head and roll all the way down onto your spine. And this time, feet together, knees out wide. One hand onto your belly again, one hand on your heart. Supta Baddha Konasana. Deep full inhale. Feel this passive hip release as you exhale. And again, bring your knees in toward each other. Give yourself a little squeeze. And now I have an option for a twist. If you want to get a good hip opening twist, something that's a little bit deeper, we'll cross the left thigh over the right. You can also take the supine pigeon pose that we started with. You'll jog your hips a little bit to the left side and either drop your knees, which are stacked at the thighs, over to the right side, or take your pigeon pose and drop it over to the right side. Either way, you can turn and look toward the left. If you have the pigeon variation, hold on to your outer left ankle. Push your left knee away as you look to the left. If you have your thighs bound, you can use your right hand on your outer left thigh and then turn your gaze toward your left hand or your shoulder. You can have a cactus arm or a straight arm. If either of these variations is too much for your back, you can stack your knees. A couple of breaths here. Wonderful work. Bring your head back through center. Slowly use your hands, press into the mat, bring your knees back in, squeeze your knees, and then set yourself up for the other side. So either crossing your right thigh completely over the left or your right flexed ankle. You can cactus your arms or straighten them out, jog your hips a bit to the right side, and then drop the shape over to the left. And if you're coming into the supine pigeon variation, grab your right ankle with your left hand and actively push your right knee away. And look over your right shoulder. Take a few breaths here, again stacking the knees together if it's too much of a twist for your back. Coming back to this idea again of relaxation, that stress leads to falling apart. Relaxation leads to falling together. So feel yourself falling back in together here, everything coming into place. Your last couple of deep breaths. When you're ready to release, bring your hands beside you for support. Bring your knees back into center. Give yourself a nice squeeze. You want to come for full happy baby pose. Take the knees wide, reach through with your arms, grab the outer edges of your feet. You can rock side to side. Let the knees come to the outer edges of your mat. Press your feet into your hands, hands into your feet, and roll the sacrum down. Final hip opener today. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And when you're ready, fold your knees into chest. You can hug in. If you'd like to take a couple of minutes for an inversion at the end of this practice, you're absolutely welcome to do that. Otherwise, make your way into Shavasana. Remember that you can find this class, if you're watching it live on Facebook, you can find it on YouTube right after the class, along with 60 other yoga classes for adults and kids. So I hope you check all of those out and share them with anyone you know that you would like to share yoga with in your life. Let's spread this feeling of peace and relaxation around the world. We all really need it right now. Thank you so much for joining me. When you're ready for Shavasana, enjoy it for as long as you can. Give yourself lots of time and space to relax. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you again virtually and hopefully soon in person. Namaste.